Next Level Radio here, bringing you once again another guest spotlight. I am Ben Beck, and I was joined, as always, by Adam. With this time, we're bringing you our 21st guest spotlight, and the person who had that privilege of being our 21st guest was the one and only Rick Hoffman from the USA Network show Suits. Rick, he was a class act to talk to. He was a great pleasure. So please make sure you support Rick and make sure you watch him as Louis Litt get lit up, as they say, on Suits Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central on the USA Network, part of the Greenback Boogie. For a full recap of this interview, make sure you listen to us this Sunday, June 15th, as well as every Sunday afterwards, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. For Rick Hoffman and Suits, you can follow them both on Twitter at @RickHoffman_ for Rick, and Suits is at Suits_USA. For more interviews and shows for us here at Next Level, make sure you follow us, www.nextlevelradioonline.com, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/nextlevelradioonline, and follow us on Twitter at NXT Level Radio. If you don't already, subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube, and in the meantime, relax and enjoy this interview with the one and only great conversation of Rick Hoffman. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Next Level Radio guest spotlight. I am Ben Beck, joined by Adam Gorey, and tonight we're joined by yet another fantastic guest in our list of fantastic guests. Now, I've never hidden the fact that I'm a fan of the shows that USA puts out. But the gentleman joining us tonight is from what is probably my favorite show currently on the USA Network. You would know him for movies such as Cellular, Hostel, and The Condemned, as well as roles on shows like The Mentalist, Lie to Me, and Chuck. But now you can see him as Louis Litt on the USA Network show Suits. Please prepare to get lit up as we welcome to the show Mr. Rick Hoffman. Rick, how you doing tonight?
Wow, that was quite an introduction. Thank you. That was very nice of you to say. I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're excited to talk to you because like I said, I'm a fan. Suits is probably my favorite show on USA right now. I've seen every episode and I stick with it every week.
I can't thank you enough. It's just unbelievable how the show has grown with crowds of people since season one, when no one really knew about us at all, when we were filming in Toronto, to up till now, where we're in season 4 and we generate crowds around the block. It's mind blowing to all of us. It's just it's a very special situation that we're all in.
Yeah, I mean, USA has such a good track record when it comes to the shows that they put out. And I think it's mainly because it's a great combination of cast meets writing that just puts the show together. And most of them come out and they stay pretty strong for such a long time.
Well, I mean, as far as Suits is concerned, we just hit the jackpot as far as being with USA and a network that, when they believe in a show, they're not really paying attention to a real time limit, and they give it a breathing room. And with that, and with great writing, and with a cast that really, really gets along and respects each other and puts in a lot of hard work, it seems to be the right equation up until this point. Thank God.
Yeah. Now, for anybody who might be listening right now who hasn't had an opportunity to see Suits, tell us a little bit about the show and your character, Louis.
Well, slightly different than the beginning of when it first started. Well, I guess basically the show takes place at one of the top high-class law firms in New York City. And it basically, the world is basically this high-end oasis up, on the 52nd floor, I think, in this high-rise in New York, where all of these deals are done and money is made, and there's a number one attorney who ends up seeing this walk-in interview for his associate, who ends up not being legal, or someone who hasn't gone to law school at all, takes him on and pretty much starts solving cases the cows come home. And then there's my character, who it started off as the number one lawyer's arch rival, but now has somehow become, I don't know, sort of like a contemporary, a wannabe friend, someone who has sort of grown to sort of learn about all of his faults and still can't get out of his own way, and for whatever reason still causes trouble, not directly at the Harvey Specter, the top lawyer in New York City, but somehow causes problems for the firm and gets in people's way, and all this different type of law havoc unfolds with the other three characters. That it's just it's turned into it's basically law is the backdrop, but now it's really about the six main characters, and how they just develop with one another, and it really can be about anything at this point. I think it's because the audience is now so invested in these six characters. That's what sort of has made the show run to a different type of level.
Yeah, the character of Louis he's definitely, I don't want to say complicated, because he's not exactly complicated, but I think some of the only words I can think of to describe him, and please don't take it the wrong way, because it's meant as a complete compliment, but he's kind of a lovable prick.
Well, lovable douche is, I was going to say douche.
I was going to say prick, yeah, so it's kind of, we're thinking along the same lines. I mean, he's one of those characters that you're completely against him one episode, but the next episode you're completely on his side and you're rooting for him. So,
yeah, it's really one of the most it's just one of the most challenging and fulfilling characters to play as an actor, because there's just the writers have created the multi dimensions of this guy, and one week there's one thing and another week there's another, and you just he's a complicated guy, as is Harvey, or even all the characters, but for whatever reason Louis is somehow reared up as like this anti-hero, and people sort of just cringe at the fact that they like to see him do well, which is it's just a very bizarre feeling, I can imagine, for audience members, because it definitely is for me when I read the script.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, because I went back and I watched the scene you're in Cellular earlier this week, and it's almost a similar character. Did you kind of go back to that character? I know it was like a while before Suits, but did you go back to that at all when you were cast for the role?
Well, first of all, that lawyer was very slick, and Louis is definitely not slick. Louis doesn't drive a Porsche, Louis would be someone who sort of drives a white Buick. He's not the one who dresses himself. That lawyer, I mean, as far as real character development for that wasn't exactly, that was just a real cocky, he was more, if anything, more of a Harvey Specter, but just
he was a little more of a straight up
with no polish. Yeah. And like, and Louis is just this very nebbishy kind of, he's just the anti-Harvey. He is, if a guy from Cellular and Louis met up, I have a feeling Louis would be a lot smarter than that dude.
Yeah, that guy seemed more of a not everything going on upstairs. Louis knows, what he's doing. And towards the end of last season, your character Louis had a bit of a health scare. Is that going to play in at all in this upcoming season?
As far as I know, I think Louis is on the healthy track.
Okay.
And he is bettering himself in a physical way, and attempting in a mental capacity. We'll see how long that lasts.
And you said you just finished production on which episode, or filming which episode was it?
We're just starting the sixth episode of the
sixth
fourth
episode.
season.
Okay, so you still got a little production left to go. And I kind of wanted to. It was interesting because the first season, it's always been a summer premiere show, but the first season was done it looks like in the fall. The second season was finished finally in February, and then the third season finished in April, which happened to actually be my birthday, April 10th. And I mean, that's only 2 months. That's only 2 months ago. I mean, it's crazy. Do you guys ever get a break with, being so short in between seasons? You don't see that too often, where the season ends and then 2 months later it starts up again.
Well, we've had the same break as we've always had. It's just that because of the Olympics this year, we were delayed to air those last 6 episodes.
Oh, okay.
They didn't want to air the episodes, and that's why they aired about a month and a half later than they normally would have.
Okay, so this one,
our hiatus has been the same.
Okay, so this one will probably end in February, like season 2 did.
Yeah, I think it will go back to the way it went I think because of USA being basic cable. I don't think they usually air those shows like up against the prime time sweeps like this year we did. We never really had that kind of traffic before.
Okay.
Like going against Grey's Anatomy or Scandal or something like that. It just doesn't usually work that way. I think we're usually in January, early February, right when the other major networks are bringing back their shows on after repeats. So,
I know we're starting to run a little bit short on time with you, but I know one of the things I did want to mention to you before we finished up is I have to say that when it comes to television shows and things like that, your law firm that you work that Louis works for has some of. I would love to work there as an intern for free, just because you have some of the most attractive secretaries and lawyers and such that work there. I mean, between Sarah Rafferty, Meghan Markle, it's just I can't imagine getting anything done in that office.
Yeah, and somehow they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once again, it's just it's obviously with them being very beautiful, and their acting is fantastic. It's they're I'd say some of the most charismatic women on television. They're just they're all dynamite, and they and I think I would say if there were just a bunch of beautiful actresses walking around, I don't think it'd be a successful show. It's just a testament to how talented this cast is, and the hard work that they put in. It's really what I think. It's why, sure, there are guys out there that love how they look, but I just don't think a show lasts that long if it's just about that. It's really, the dynamic of each person, of each woman, and how powerful each one of them are in their own ways. And it's once again like that writing and it's just it's like lightning in a bottle, man. You got some great actors and you got some great writers and some beautiful women, and it sounds to me like that's the formula.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I completely agree with you too. I mean, because even putting looks aside, I mean, if you take Sarah Rafferty just for example as Donna's character is just, I mean, she's ballsy, she's sarcastic. I think she puts out, other than Louis, I think puts out some of the best lines in that show, and she's a prime example that just of how fantastic the acting is from the women on that show.
Yeah, it's like it's you have experiences where if this was given to other actresses, I just don't think it would be as successful. It's just being very lucky that each person fit in the right, in casting, the right piece of the puzzle was fit, and everybody has their own unique ability, and I mean, I know it's nauseating, but it's just a very, very lucky, type of experience for all of us to be, put together and have this successful show.
Well, the one thing that sticks out, at least personally to me about it, is that it's so cleverly written. It's very it's not just one-liners and stuff. It's actually depth, and it's still hilarious, especially your character and a couple of the others. But it's just the writing is so clever. It's awesome.
Well, that would be Aaron Korsh and the other 8 writers that write with him. We're spoiled, man. That's all I can say.
When you see them, tell them
they get a real.
Tell them Next Level Radio said, "Job well done."
I will for sure. I will for sure.
So, well, we're getting ready to wrap things up, and how we usually like to wrap our interviews up is what we call our rapid fire questions. And basically, how that works. basically how that works is Adam's just going to shoot a couple questions at you. They're real quick, real simple. Just answer with the first thing that comes to your head, and we can go from there. You don't have to go into too much detail.
All right, this should be really interesting. Go ahead.
This one, the first one's sort of an homage to Suits, because obviously, you know, Suits is legal term, but it's also, you guys are always wearing a suit. So how many different ways can you tie a tie? Because I know personally I only know one way.
I know only one way.
Okay.
Only one way, and it's not what you see on the show. That is done for me.
I was gonna say.
Admit it. I'm lame.
Because the only way I know is over, through the loop, and down. That's the only way I know. It looks hideous.
That's exactly right.
The knot is always off
center.
center.
With you. And if it was, yep. And if I had to wear it that way on the show, you'd always see it slump over to the right or left and droop down and probably have some stain on it. But
awesome. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, you are not.
Second one is, what's your favorite guilty pleasure movie?
Guilty pleasure movies. Seven.
That's a great choice.
Yeah.
We actually have the one soundbite on our show with What's in the Box.
But never, anytime that thing's on, I just can't. I can never turn it off.
Oh, it's captivating. It really is.
Yep.
Last one for you, and then we'll let you go. If you could pick anyone to guest star on Suits with you, who would it be?
Oh man. Oh, come on. First thought. Well, okay. I'll give it this. If Norma was ever cast, right? Cloris Leachman.
Okay.
Oh, that could work though. That would be very interesting.
It would be Cloris Leachman. I see, because like as far as all actors are concerned, I mean, come on, there's so many. But we always talked about, like, you know, when I don't think Norma's ever. I don't know if you're ever going to see Norma, but I always picture Cloris Leachman as Norma.
I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that working.
That's not a bad choice.
But Cloris Leachman from the movie High Anxiety, guys, which is, I'm not sure it's.
I've seen it.
But she was that
I own
nurse.
it.
What year did that come out?
That's how I see Norma.
What year did High Anxiety come out?
It's a Mel Brooks movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out, because I love Mel Brooks, but I'm only 27, so.
Oh, if you saw her performance, it's genius. Even the Young Frankenstein performance. Any of the old Cloris Leachman movies. That's
I know. Yeah, I know Young Frankenstein, so I'm with you there.
Okay.
So, well, we're definitely going to send people your way on Twitter. You can be found at Rick Hoffman _, because apparently somebody stole at Rick Hoffman.
What's up with that? Have you ever approached that guy?
No. First of all, it's amazing that I'm even on Twitter, and that, you know, now it's become a pleasure, actually, because, I mean, it's just become ridiculous that people would actually write to this goofy-looking Jewish guy who's, like, you know, putting out this awkward character, and they seem to really, I mean, it's just such a nice. That's the great part about Twitter, you know, it's just reading all the wonderful things that the fans say. And
well, I think he has a beef with you.
It's just fantastic.
I think that guy has a beef with you.
Who
The guy
does?
who has Rick Hoffman. His description.
Sure
His description is bankruptcy attorney in South Jersey, not the actor from Suits. Seriously, why are so many people trying to tweet some secondary actor on a USA show? I think you need to. He's in Swedesboro, Jersey. I think you need to come out to Swedesboro and teach him a lesson.
Well, no, that's actually that gives me good. That's Louis Litt right there, man.
That's actually
that's
true.
the kind of guy that we all, you know what I mean? I love
He
to hate
watches
that
the
guy.
show. Yeah, he definitely watches the
What
show.
an asshole!
Yeah, definitely. But they can follow Suit. They can follow Suit, the show Suits, on Twitter as well, at Suits _USA. And we definitely want to push everybody to watch the season 4 premiere tonight on USA, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central. Rick, thanks so much for joining us tonight, man. This was a great pleasure.
Guys, it was a privilege. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So,
Yeah, thanks, man.
be sure to check us out, www.nextlevelradioonline.com. Follow us on Twitter at NXT Level Radio, and we will see you around the bend, guys. Take care.